Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, today we are swinging for the fences.
We really are.
We are tackling the absolute holy grail of physics. For the last century, the smartest people on the planet, Einstein included, have been trying to solve one specific puzzle.
Just one?
They've been trying to get gravity to play nice with quantum mechanics, and frankly, they've been failing.
It's the single biggest loose end in science. I mean, we have these two incredibly successful rule books for the universe.
Right.
We have general relativity for the big stuff stars, galaxies, gravity, and then quantum mechanics for the tiny stuff atoms, particles.
And they just don't get along.
Just be completely different languages. It's
Yeah.
like trying to run an Xbox game on a vintage record player. They just do not talk to each other.
Exactly. And so today we are diving into a manuscript that thinks it might have found the Rosetta Stone.
A bold claim.
A very bold claim. It's titled Toward a Novel Conception of Unified Field Theory by Reza Khanha. But, and here's where I need you to stick with me, it's not just using more math. It's attempting to synthesize advanced theoretical physics with metaphysics and an ancient scriptural wisdom.
Which I know sounds like a massive red flag for a lot of people.
Oh, for sure.
Usually when you hear physics and scripture in the same sentence, you expect some kind of pseudo-scientific sermon. But that's not what this is.
Right. I was so skeptical when I first opened the file. I thought, okay, here we go. But the author isn't trying to preach. He's trying to solve a logic puzzle.
Exactly. He's suggesting that the reason we failed to unify physics for 100 years isn't because we aren't good enough at math.
It's something deeper.
It's because we have a conceptual fracture in
Yeah.
how we view reality itself. We're asking the wrong questions.
And the core idea here is that the universe didn't begin with a big bang, which implies an explosion of stuff into a pre-existing place, but with a detachment, a shift from absolute unity to, well, to multiplicity.
And the way he weaves it all together it's unexpected.
It's wild, but it weirdly connects dots I didn't even know were there.
It invites us to stop looking at the universe as a machine that was assembled part by part and start looking at it as a unity that was broken.
So before we get into the heavy metaphysical stuff, let's set the stage with the hard science. Where are we right now in physics? Why is this fracture between gravity and everything else so bad?
Well, currently we have the Standard Model. You can think of this as sort of the periodic table for forces.
Okay.
It successfully unifies 3 of the 4 fundamental forces: electromagnetism, the strong nuclear force, and the weak nuclear force. They all fit into this neat quantum framework.
Works.
It works. It's pixelated. It's discrete. It's great.
But then there's number 4, gravity, the outcast.
Precisely. Gravity, as Einstein described it in general relativity, is the curvature of spacetime. It's geometry. It's smooth, like a sheet.
And the quantum world is not smooth.
Not at all. It's chunky. It's pixelated particles.
Yeah.
And you cannot mathematically plug Einstein's smooth geometry into the chunky world of quantum mechanics without getting answers that are just infinity.
It breaks the calculator.
It literally breaks the calculator.
Okay, but we hear about things like string theory or loop quantum gravity all the time. Aren't those supposed to be fixing this?
They try to. But this is where Khanha, the author of our source, he launches a pretty stinging critique.
Okay.
He argues that string theory has a fatal flaw. It is background dependent.
Background dependent. Break that down for us.
Okay, imagine a stage play. String theory is trying to describe the actors, the strings vibrating and moving around. But it assumes the stage space-time itself is already there.
Ah.
It assumes the theater exists before the play even starts.
So it's just taking space and time for granted.
Yes. And Khanha argues that if you want a true unified field theory,
The theory of
a
everything.
theory of everything, you can't start with the stage. You have to explain where the stage came from.
You have to explain the origin of space-time itself.
Right. If you start with once upon a time in a place, you've already missed the very beginning.
Which sounds impossible. I mean, how do you talk about physics before there's any where or when? That makes my brain hurt just thinking about it.
You have to change your definition of gravity, and this is the first major pillar of this theory. The manuscript argues that gravity is not a fundamental force at all.
Wait, hold on. Gravity isn't fundamental? I'm sticking to my chair right now. If I drop my coffee mug, it smashes. It feels pretty fundamental to me.
It feels real, absolutely. But the author calls it a low-energy relic, or a shadow.
A shadow.
Yeah, think of it like surface tension on a cup of water.
Okay, let's unpack this. Surface tension.
So if you're a tiny bug walking on water, the surface tension feels like a solid sheet, right? It feels like a force holding you up.
Sure.
But if you zoom in, what is it? It's just the result of all the water molecules clinging together underneath. It's an emergent effect.
It's not a thing in itself.
It's a side effect of deeper dynamics.
So the author is saying gravity is the same thing. It's just the surface tension of the other forces.
Correct. He suggests gravity is the shadow cast by the other three forces acting together on a massive scale.
That would explain why it's so much weaker than the other forces, right? I mean, a tiny magnet can lift a paperclip against the pull of the entire Earth.
Exactly. And it explains why we can't unify it mathematically. We've been trying to unify a shadow with the object casting it.
They aren't peers.
They're not. You can't add a shadow to an equation of objects and expect it to balance.
That is a brain bender. Okay, so if gravity is just a shadow and space-time doesn't exist yet, what is the origin story here? The source talks about absolute zero, but I'm assuming he doesn't mean temperature.
No, not degrees Kelvin. He calls it ontological zero.
See, that's one of those phrases that sounds impressive but means nothing to me. Ontological zero. Is that just a vacuum, like empty space?
No, and that's a crucial distinction. Empty space is still something. It has dimensions height, width, depth.
It has potential.
Right, potential for quantum fluctuations. Ontological zero is the absence of everything. No mass, no time, no information, no geometry. Just pure, undivided, silent unity.
A void.
A pregnant void. A state where nothing exists yet, but everything is possible.
And then something breaks the silence.
Light. But again, we have to stretch away our high school physics definition. This isn't light from a light bulb.
Yeah.
This is light with a capital L. The source describes light as the prototype of separation.
Separation from what? If there's only zero, what is it separating from?
It's the first distinction. The universe begins when unity decides to break into multiplicity. Light is that first rupture.
It's the first thing that isn't the void.
Exactly. And the author suggests that light didn't just travel through space. Light created the geometry of space-time itself.
There's this really trippy concept in the notes about living inside a beam. Can we talk about that? Because it sounds like science fiction.
It is a speculative model, for sure, but it's fascinating. Imagine that the entire universe isn't a collection of rocks and gas floating in some pre-existing dark room.
Yeah.
Imagine instead that the universe is a single, coherent, unfolding pulse of light.
The whole universe is the beam.
Yes.
Mm.
And everything we see, matter, planets, us, we are just localized knots in that light. We are turbulence within the beam.
That's terrifying, actually. It's like we're trapped in a laser pointer.
In a way, yes. And
Yeah.
in this model, time isn't a separate dimension you move through. Time is just the asymmetry within that beam.
So as the beam unfolds and changes.
That changes time. We're inside the pulse, experiencing its unfolding.
So if everything is just one beam of light that's knotted itself up, how do we get the distinct forces we see today? Why do magnets stick to fridges and atomic bombs explode? Why doesn't it all just look like light?
This brings us to the reimagining of the four forces. In this model, the four forces aren't four different tools in a toolbox.
Right.
They're four different ways the original unity cracked.
I really need an analogy here. The source mentions a boat in the ocean. Walk us through that, because that's the only way this clicked for me.
It's a very helpful visual. So imagine a particle, let's say an electron, is a boat floating in an ocean.
Okay, an electron is a boat.
But this ocean isn't passive water. It's a dynamic, unified field acting on the boat in four distinct ways simultaneously.
Right. So let's break down the four ways. First, you have the deep current.
That's gravity. It's the deep, steady pull. It's massive. It affects the whole ocean, but it's slow and works underneath the surface. It pulls the boat down.
Okay. Then you have the waves on the surface.
That's electromagnetism. It rocks the boat. It has polarity up and down, crest and trough, positive and negative.
It's the interaction we actually see.
It's the one we notice most on the surface of reality.
Right.
Energetic and oscillatory.
And the ropes.
The strong nuclear force. Imagine the boat is tied to other boats with incredibly tight, strong ropes. That's the internal cohesion holding the fleet or the nucleus together.
It's pure tension.
Pure tension.
And finally,
The storm.
the storm.
The weak nuclear force. This is the wind or the storm that occasionally sweeps in and breaks the boat apart or changes its structure. It represents transformation and decay.
So the particle, the boat, isn't being pushed by four different guys. It's in one ocean.
Exactly. The particle doesn't move because of four different equations. It changes its identity based on one unified field acting in four ways.
the movement is just the boat responding to the ocean.
The ocean's complex state.
That really simplifies it. It makes the idea of a unified field feel much more attainable. It's not four things. It's one thing doing four behaviors.
Yes. And this is where the manuscript takes that sharp turn we warned you about.
Right.
The author looks at this one thing doing four behaviors and says, wait a minute, I've heard this story before.
In the Quran and the Bible.
Correct.
Now, play devil's advocate for a second. Why should we care? I mean, it's interesting poetry, but does it actually help the physics? Or is this just retroactively fitting verses to facts?
That's the valid skepticism. But the author's argument is that these texts function as symbolic pointers.
Pointers.
He argues that because these texts claim to be from the creator of the system, they might contain the blueprint logic that the math is still trying to catch up to. He treats them like data points describing the cosmology.
Okay, so let's look at the specific concept of Rak and Fatak. This is from the Quran, right?
Yes, chapter 21, verse 30. It speaks of the heavens and the earth being Raku, which implies being joined together, sewn up, a singularity. And then they underwent Fatak, which means a splitting apart and unstitching.
Which sounds exactly like the detachment from the singularity the author was talking about earlier.
Precisely. It mirrors the transition from that ontological zero, the Raku, to the expansion of the universe, the Fatak. It's not an explosion, it's an unstitching.
And then you look at Genesis in the Bible, let there be light.
Right. And usually people think, oh, God turned on the light so we could see what he was doing. A very human interpretation.
But in this framework,
let there be light is a technical command. It's the mechanism of creation. Light was the tool.
the mechanism of differentiation. Before light, there was no distinction. After light, you have things.
It connects right back to that idea of light being the first rupture in the void.
It does.
And the author goes even further into the symbolism, mapping the four fundamental forces to the ancient four elements: earth, water, fire, and air.
Now, this is where I got a bit stuck. It felt a little bit like a horoscope. Oh, you're a fire sign, so you have strong nuclear energy.
I get that.
Is there actual logic here, or is it just metaphorical fluff?
Let's look at the feel of the forces.
Mm-hmm.
The ancient alchemists were trying to describe the qualities of matter. So let's map it. Earth. What is earth? It's heavy, stable, grounding. It pulls things down.
That tracks with gravity.
Correct. Then you have water. Water flows, it has currents, it's the source of life. It's coherent.
And the source connects that to the flow of charge.
Yes. Electromagnetism is the force of chemistry and biology. It flows like a fluid of charges. That's water.
Okay, fire?
Fire is intense energy. It binds, it consumes. It's extremely powerful, but localized.
The strong nuclear force, the energy of the sun.
The immense energy held within the nucleus. And finally, air. Air is subtle. It moves things invisibly. It's associated with change, wind, and transition.
The weak nuclear force. The force of decay and transformation.
It's a surprisingly tight alignment, right?
Yes.
It suggests that these archetypes, earth, water, fire, air, weren't just primitive guesses. They were intuitive descriptions of how the unified field expresses itself.
So we have this picture of a universe that started as a perfect silent zero. Then, through a command, light breaks that silence. That light knots itself up into the four forces, our boat in the ocean. But what drives this? Why does it happen at all? And what about the things we still can't explain?
Like entropy.
Yeah, entropy. My understanding of entropy is basically my bedroom gets messy, the universe tends toward disorder.
That's the standard definition. Disorder increases. But Kanga flips that. He argues entropy isn't a measurement of disorder, it's a measurement of distance from the source.
Distance from the source. Make that concrete for me.
Imagine a radio signal. The further you get from the tower, the fuzzier it gets.
Okay.
It's not that the signal is deciding to be messy. It's just losing its original coherence because of the distance.
Ah, that makes perfect sense.
So in this theory, as things get more complex, as they differentiate more, they are simply getting further away from that initial state of perfect symmetry, that absolute zero.
So high entropy isn't just chaos, it's maximum separation from the origin.
It's like we're stretching a rubber band further and further. The tension, the entropy is the distance.
Exactly.
And that brings us to the ghosts of physics, dark matter and dark energy. We have no idea what these are in the standard model.
Right, we just know there's extra gravity holding galaxies together and something pushing the universe apart.
And the source says these aren't exotic particles we just haven't found yet.
No. He suggests they are residues of incomplete detachment.
Residues.
Imagine the universe unfolding from that unity. Maybe not all of it unfolded perfectly.
So dark matter.
It might be parts of the universe that haven't fully detached or differentiated into the four distinct forces yet. They are shadows of the original unity still lingering.
That is a haunting image.
Hmm.
Parts of the universe that are still stuck in the before.
And it solves the problem of why we can't see them. We can't see them because they haven't entered the light of our differentiated reality fully.
They're still half stuck in the vacuum.
So they have mass, which is gravity, but they don't interact with light, which is electromagnetism.
That actually fits the description of dark matter perfectly. It has gravity, but no light.
Precisely.
So we have the mechanics, the how.
Hmm.
Light,
Yeah.
detachment, forces. But the manuscript has one final, very philosophical layer, the why.
Why did the zero break?
The why is intentionality.
And this is where we get to the phrase kun fayakun.
Yes. Be, and it is.
Ah,
The source argues that you cannot explain the origin of the laws of physics using the laws of physics. That's a circular argument.
right.
You can't use math to explain where the math came from.
It's like trying to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps.
So he posits that the laws of physics are not the foundation of reality. They are the first effects of a non-physical command.
Divine intentionality. Will.
The universe didn't explode by accident. It was willed into separation.
It's the idea that physics explains the script, but intentionality explains the playwright.
Precisely. And for the listener, this is the crucial takeaway. We often get bogged down thinking science and metaphysics are enemies. This source suggests they're just looking at different stages of the same process.
Physics studies the unfolded paper. Metaphysics studies the act of folding.
There you go.
So to recap this journey, because, wow, we've covered a lot of ground.
We really have.
We started with the Holy Grail unifying gravity. We learned that the current models fail because they assume space-time exists. We looked at Kongha's model, where gravity is just a shadow of a detached unity.
Right.
We saw the universe as a pulse of light, fracturing into four currents: earth, water, fire, and air. And finally, we saw entropy as the distance from that first moment of divine intent.
It is a sweeping vision. And whether or not the math ultimately holds up, because remember, this is a manuscript proposing a novel conception, not a proven law, the value here is in the perspective shift.
Why does this matter to the listener? To the person driving to work or washing dishes right now? Why should they care about ontological zero?
Because we live in a fragmented world. We see things as separate, gravity versus quantum, science versus religion, me versus you. This theory reminds us that separation is the illusion.
The fracture is a temporary state.
Underneath the gravity, the electromagnetism, the weak and strong forces, it's all just one ocean. It's all just one light.
It changes how you look at the world. You're not just seeing objects, you're seeing knots of light in a unified field.
And it challenges us to think bigger. We get stuck in our little silos of expertise. This deep dive shows that sometimes, to solve a hard physics problem, you might need to read a holy book.
Or to understand a philosophical concept, you need to understand quantum mechanics.
The answers are usually in the synthesis, not the separation.
I want to leave everyone with a final thought from the source. It's a riff on Einstein. You know, Einstein famously said, God does not play dice with the universe, right? He hated the randomness of quantum mechanics.
He did. He wanted order. He wanted a clean equation.
Well, this theory suggests something even more profound. It suggests God does not require an equation for unity. He is the origin from which the equations emerge.
That is a powerful place to end. The equation isn't the creator, it's the creation.
Thanks for diving deep with us today. Keep looking for the unity in the fracture. We'll see you next time.